been here since 2013, and one thing I can say over the last 12 years is we are spoiled every week with the music. Yeah. Like, just unbelievable. Over 12 years, and it's kind of interesting. Sitting right behind me today is my buddy Bo Dukes, and if you're kind of new to the church, you don't know this, but Bo Dukes led worship here for us for 10 years, crushed it, by the way. And I love the foundation that Bo created over a 10-year period, and now he gets to come to church with his family, and the tradition continues, and the band just brings it, man. I love it. Anyway, I also love some leftovers. I was thinking about this week, and I eat more leftovers, I think, than all y'all in the room, because I meal prep. Any meal preppers in the room? Anybody do some meal prepping? Okay, 4 of us responsible people. But on the weekends, I try to cook 5 pounds of chicken breast, and then it makes me stay honest all week so I can eat somewhat healthy with my salads and stuff. And so I never really think about that being leftovers, but that's 90% of my meal is leftovers. And my kids now hate chicken. It's like, what are we having tonight? Chicken. We got this chicken. You got 5 pounds, kids. Come on. Anyway, the reason we named this series Leftovers, if you haven't been here the last 3 weeks, is because whenever I get these ideas of things I want to talk about up here, sometimes it doesn't fit in whatever we're talking about at that particular time. And so when that happens, I just put that idea in a Ziploc baggie, put it in the back of the fridge, and then once a summer, we bust out all these different ideas that I've been having and that the team's been having, and we do this series called Leftovers. The first 2 weeks of this series was heavy, okay? We were heavy. Last weekend was mental health, heavy. So today, I'm just we're talking about grace, people. We're just bringing it up. So I wanted to start out with a question for you guys. How many of you love your routine? Come on, raise your hand if you love your routine. Keep it up if you love your routine. You all are the reason that the family got to church on time today. Come on. Now, if you did not raise your hand, okay, you don't love a routine, but you do love being the life of the party, baby. Come on, I call you all free spirits. If you don't necessarily love a routine, just shout, woohoo, or something. Come on. Yeah, that's what irresponsibility sounds like right there. No, I'm kidding. I'm married to free spirit. I love free spirits. I am not a free spirit, people. And I have a routine, and some of you know this. On Sunday morning, I have a routine. And by the way, if anybody messes with my routine, I go through spiritual warfare in my head. You know what I mean? And so I have a routine on Sunday morning where I try to run 4 miles before church so I can think and pray through my message. And so a few Sundays ago, I wake up because my alarm goes off. It's Sunday morning, and normally in our bedroom in the morning it's super dark, but in the summer there's a little bit of light that comes through the side blind things, and so I could see just a little bit. And so I'm trying to quietly walk through my bedroom to get to my running clothes, and so I'm stepping over pillows and blankets. I'm pretty sure there was a kid or 2 in there. I don't know. And I thought I saw a little something shiny on the floor, but this is still when the crusties are in your eye. This is the time of day when your Face ID on your phone still doesn't recognize you. You know what I'm saying? And so I did not know what I was looking at. It just looked shiny. So I was like, is this a sun glare on the floor? Is this a library book cover? Is this a Capri Sun straw wrapper, which my kids litter all over my house? And so I didn't know what it was, so I thought, I'll just put my foot through it to just see what it is. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, all right? And so, true story, I just put my foot, I just tried to slide it through the shiny thing, and I'm like, doesn't feel shiny. That feels wet. That's a pond on my bedroom floor. And so I was thinking maybe the kids spilled out the entire Capri Sun on the floor. That wouldn't be unusual. And so I wanted to figure out what it was. So in the dark, I got wet all over my foot. I'm hopping on one foot. And so I go down, I'm like, I feel like we should put this picture up right now. This is the right moment. This is my angry dog, Chihuahua, Charlie. And Charlie, you think he looks cute. Listen, Charlie sprung a leak, y'all. And the thing is, okay, it wasn't just a leak. My dog weighs 8 pounds. A Great Dane would have been impressed with what he left on my floor, okay? And so Now I'm hopping in my bedroom. I got Charlie's free spirit all over my foot. It's in the dark. I'm hopping to the bathroom because I'm like, if I can just get my foot in the tub, then I can get Charlie's free spirit off my foot. And so I get to the tub. I stick my foot in the by the way, at this point, I'm not thinking or praying through my message at all. I get my foot in the tub. I turn the tub on. Now, my wife is still sleeping. So she hears the tub. And so she's like, wakes up. She's like, Joe, you're taking a bath? What are you doing? Like, would you at least shut the door? And so now I'm in the dark trying to shut the door for the tub. All this to say, Charlie was sleeping the entire time. He wasn't worried about one thing, okay? And so we, rehoused Charlie. Charlie has a new family now. I'm kidding. Some of you are like, oh my gosh. But if you want an angry chihuahua, come see me after the service in the lobby, okay? But it messed up my whole routine, all because somebody forgot that you can't feed Charlie before bed, because if you feed Charlie before bed, he will eat like he's a Great Dane. Then he'll start drinking like he's a Great Dane. And then he will leave a Great Dane-sized free-spirited puddle all over the pastor's floor for him to step in on the morning before he preaches. And guess who forgot that? Me. I fed him the night before, all right? And he's like, arr. Anyway, here's my question for you, Bay Shore. What was the last thing you forgot? What's the last thing you forgot? How many of you are like, I can't remember? You just found it. Okay, that's your last thing. No one remembers. Let me help you. Okay, sometimes we forget where we put our phone, right? We forget when it's trash day. We forget what that one leftover is in the back of the fridge that's been there since Christmas, the one with like the felt now growing on it, you know what I'm saying? Isn't it true that we forget things all the time? Isn't that true? We always are forgetting things, which maybe is why the Bible uses the word remember around 230 times and the phrase don't forget around 50 times. So that means there's around 280 times that the Bible's like, hey, don't forget, remember, don't forget, remember, don't forget, remember. Now, the Bible isn't trying to give us practical advice in the sense of like, hey, remember, don't feed Charlie before bedtime. Okay, just remember where you put your keys. Don't forget that. Okay, no. The vast majority of those 280 times, the Bible is saying, hey, don't forget all the good things God's done in your life. Hey, don't forget that. You got to remember that. And so, listen, this morning, don't forget to remember God's goodness. Don't forget to remember God's promises. Don't forget to remember God's Son. Remember, remember, remember. Somebody say remember. And listen, the one thing I always want to remember is God's amazing grace. I always want to remember God's amazing grace. And if you forget everything I say today, and you might, and that's okay, but don't forget God's amazing grace in your life. I don't want to forget God's amazing grace in my life, and I don't want us to forget God's amazing grace in other people's lives, which is why I love Luke chapter 15 so much. In Luke chapter 15, Jesus is in trouble with the religious leaders again, because Jesus is hanging out with sinners again. And like literally, Jesus is going to these house parties. He's hanging out with cheats and criminals and Pittsburgh Steelers fans, the worst of the worst. Listen, football season hasn't even started, man. Anyway, Jesus is hanging out with all these messy people. Why? Because Jesus liked people who were nothing like him. And people who were nothing like Jesus liked Jesus. Except for the religious leaders. They did not know why Jesus was hanging out with all these messy people. And so they were like, Jesus, why? What are you doing? Like, what are you about? And so in Luke 15, Jesus tells 3 stories, and we'll put this picture on the screen. He tells the story about the lost sheep, the story of the lost coin, and the story of the lost son. And the cool thing is, all 3 stories pretty much have the same point. And the point is, everyone matters to God, and no one is too far gone for God's amazing grace. And we see that right out of the gate of Luke 15 in the first story of the lost sheep. And so we'll put this on the screen. Luke 15, chapter 4 says, if a man has 100 sheep and how many of them gets lost? One of them gets lost. What will he do? Won't he leave the 99 others in the wilderness and go to search for the one that is lost until he finds it? Now, if you're kind of new to church, if you've been in church for a while, you're like, I know the story. I know it. But if you're new, maybe you're like, what does this mean? We're talking about sheep and shepherds. Well, the shepherd represents Jesus. The 99 sheep represent people who are already following Jesus. But this one lost sheep represents that one last person in Rehoboth Beach that may not know Jesus yet. And Jesus is like, I'm going to leave the 99 because they're already in the family. I'm going to go get the one. And this is so important. Why is Jesus telling us this story? Because, listen, God's amazing grace is not just for people who go to church. God's amazing grace isn't just for people who watch The Chosen. God's amazing grace isn't just for that person who you said, how are you doing in church this morning? And they're like, oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. What does that even mean? Whatever. Listen, God's amazing grace is also for church skippers. God's amazing grace is also for people who watch The Real Housewives of New York, which I've never seen. I saw one of the other Real Housewives, but anyway, it's also for those people who wouldn't say, hey, I'm blessed and highly favored, but they would say, hey, I'm just high right now, just straight up high. And Jesus is like, I will do anything to find that one. I'm going after that one. Even the messy ones that the religious leaders would say are, this story about sheep, the religious leaders would say are bad. All right, sorry, don't. Every sermon has got to have a cheesy line like that. So there it is, it's done. Look forward to your one next weekend. We'll put this on the screen. If you're taking notes today, how do we remember God's amazing grace? Number one, remember God's heart for people. Now, I'm curious, has anybody had any sticker shock lately? Like you've been to the grocery store, or you've been to Disney, or you've been you've been out of your house at some point. Raise your hand if you have had some sticker shock. Oh my goodness. So recently, this new smash burger place opened up basically right by my house. And it's not like the smash burger food truck, and it's not, I don't want to say the name of it, but it's over in Bethany. The smash burger place opened up near my house, and I'm like, if this is not God's favor in my life, I do not know what is. And so one Sunday after I got done preaching, I was like, I'm going to celebrate with some cholesterol, And so I wanted to order from this new burger place, check it out, try it out. And so I went to place my order on their website. But first, they made me download their app. And then I had to set up an account. And then I had to verify that I was not a robot to them. And then I had to set up my payment information. And then and only then was I able to go and look through the menu. And then I added, a plain cheeseburger and regular fries, because that's what Jesus would do. I am 37 minutes into this order. I am deep into this order. And I'm not lying. I go to the cart to check out, and before tip, it said $19.75. There wasn't bacon on this burger. There wasn't a crab cake on top. I didn't even get a drink. This was a plain cheeseburger and a regular fry. $19.75. And I'm like, I'm 37 minutes in. I'm too deep now. And so I I purchased it, and then I put my dog Charlie on Facebook Marketplace to pay for the burger. No, but I had sticker shock because I was thinking about it. I was like, if I take my whole family of 4 for plain cheeseburgers and fries, we're at $80. This is where you got to set up a GoFundMe before you go get a cheeseburger. Anyway, I had some sticker shock. Everybody say sticker shock. Now, here's what I want to tell you about sticker shock. By far, the greatest sticker shock of all time is not at a burger spot. The greatest sticker shock of all time is on the cross. If you want to know what your net worth is, do not look at your bank app. You need to look at the cross. If you want to know how much somebody's willing to pay for you, don't look at your receipt for $19.75 for a burger. You need to look at the cross. The cross just screams God's amazing grace. It is sticker shock screaming. Because think about it. On the cross, Jesus, he paid for your craziest, darkest moments. Paid it all. Swipe the credit card, transaction approved, baby. And if you know it, just say sticker shock. If you know it's sticker shock, just say sticker shock. Listen, you should be more excited about that. Come on, sticker shock. Let me tell you why it's sticker shock. It's sticker shock because do you remember your freshman year of college? Do you remember that one concert you went to? Maybe it was a Coldplay concert. If you know, you know. Maybe it's Coldplay. Maybe it was a Motley Crue concert in the 90s, okay? Do you remember that? Do you remember spring break? Do you remember any of these things? Some of you are like, I do not remember any of them, but I'm pretty sure I was like having a good time. If you're a Jesus follower, Jesus is like, I don't remember them either. I don't remember them. And it gets better because Jesus didn't just go on a cross for us. Jesus went on a cross for those people. Come on. If you know who those people are, the ones who get on your one last nerve, just let me see your hands. Don't point at them, but if you know about some of those people, listen, on 4th of July weekend, my boy Nixon was like, hey, Dad, let's go skimboarding at the beach. I'm like, bro, out of every, like, I am not spiritually mature enough, son, to go to the beach on 4th of July weekend. And Nixon was like, well, I'm only young once. I'm like, oh, come on. So I get a skimboard, we go up to Bethany Beach, and listen, it's 4th of July weekend, and I'm not trying to exaggerate. There were 87 billion people trying to park at the same time. I mean, it was madness. I think I saw a Prius parked on top of a minivan. It was just like people everywhere. There was no parking spots. I'm just looking at all these cars. I'm looking at license plates. I'm like, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania. I'm thinking, there's nobody in the state of Pennsylvania today. They're all here. I want to be in Pennsylvania. That's where I want to be. I could not find a spot. True story. We found the one last spot. There was one open spot, and I see it. It's got to be the last one in Bethany Beach. There's somebody standing in it to save it. I'm like, Lord, is this a test? Because I will run over them in Jesus' name. Like, I will take them out. That's one of those people. You know what I'm saying? Those people are the ones standing in parking spots. Those people are the ones who take 87 items into the 15 item or less line. Those people are the ones when you're telling your best story and they give a one-upper story. Okay, those people. But let me defend those people for just a second. Because the same cross that gives us sticker shock is for all those people out there too. And listen, don't miss this. God's amazing grace isn't just for people who go to Bay Shore at the 9:45 service. God's amazing grace is also for all of those people who have wandered off. And you know what Jesus' dream is for those people? Is that they will be standing in this room next to you one day. And you know why that's a big deal and good news? Because that means they won't be standing in my parking spot in Bethany Beach. You know what I mean? No, but Jesus, in the story of the lost shepherd, okay, when there was one lost sheep, he's like, I'm going to do anything to get that one that wandered off, because that one is valuable. Now, speaking of valuable, the next story that Jesus tells is the story of the lost coin, and it's right here. It's in Luke chapter 15, verse 8. And he says, or suppose a woman has 10 silver coins, and this is kind of like the 99 sheep. Okay, these are already Jesus followers. The 10 silver coins represent already Jesus followers. And the lady, she loses one. Won't she light a lamp and sweep the entire house and search what? Carefully until she finds it. Now question, why would she search carefully? Because the coin is valuable. Literally. Let me ask you a question. If a coin is damaged, is it still just as valuable as a coin that's in mint condition? Yeah, like if you lost a coin and you find it and it's been under the bed or under the drawer and it's covered in like dirt and Capri Sun and it's sticky, it's got Doritos, crumbs on it. Isn't that coin just as valuable as a mint coin? Yeah. And so the same thing happens when it comes to people who are not Jesus followers yet. People who are not Jesus followers are valuable, just like people who are Jesus followers are valuable. And so when God finds us, I just want you to, I'm going to remind you what you already know. When God finds us, yes, he cleans us up. Yes, he changes us. Yes, he helps get our life back on track. But let's never forget who we were before he found us and all the good things he's done in our life since then and all the amazing grace he has shown us. And that same amazing grace is not just, for us. He can do that same thing for our lost family. He can do that same thing for our lost friends. That one uncle you have. You know that one uncle? Maybe you are the uncle. Okay, I don't know. But he can do that same thing for the lost people in our life, because all coins have value, just like all people have value. It kind of reminds me of this. I have a 1973 Topps Nolan Ryan card that I got at a flea market in when I was like 8 years old. Okay, so you can see it here. Nolan Ryan was like, I don't know why I liked him so much. He was a pitcher like way back in the day. And if you're like under 40, you're probably like asking ChatGPT, who is Nolan Ryan? What are his stats? Listen, this guy was like, he could throw a fastball, man. That's all you need to know. And so when I found this at the flea market, I was like, man, I got to have that card. And so I remember getting this. And then as a kid, my mom used to always take me to Food Lion when she would grocery shop. And I would always go to the magazine section and find Tough Stuff magazine, because that was a card valuing magazine, because I wanted to see how much my cards were worth. And I remember looking up my 1973 Nolan Ryan Topps card in Tough Stuff magazine and finding out it was worth tens of dollars. I mean, as a kid, it was the most valuable thing I owned, okay? True story. I put it in a kid's safe. I put it in the back of my closet, just in case anybody ever robbed us, they would not rob Nolan Ryan. Because this card can almost buy you a cheeseburger. But I knew it was worth tens of dollars because I saw that in a magazine. Now, if there were a magazine called People magazine, not that People magazine, but a magazine that said that valued how much people are worth, you know what it would say? It would say, Bo Duke's value, Jesus' life on a cross. It would say, Bill Ertle, value, Jesus' life on a cross. Janet Ertle, value, Jesus' life on a cross. A Pittsburgh Steelers fan, value. No, I'm just kidding. Janet is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, value, Jesus' life on a cross. But that magazine would also say those people who aren't Jesus followers yet value Jesus' life on a cross. Because lost people are valuable just like found people are valuable. And God values those who aren't here yet just as much as he values you guys who are here. I mean, think about it. God sent his son Jesus for all the people who are not here yet. And let me just remind you who Jesus is, okay? Let me just remind you. Okay, he is the King of Kings. He is the Lord of Lords. He is the Prince of Peace. He is the creator of the heavens and the earth. He is the commander of angels' armies. He is the beginning and the end. He's the Savior. He's the Messiah. He's the chosen one. And he paid it all for us. And he wants to pay it for all the people who aren't here yet. The lost ones, the ones who are wandering. Why? Because that's God's amazing grace. Isn't that amazing? It's amazing. And so the second idea of how to remember God's amazing grace is, first of all, is remember God's heart for all people. The second idea is this, we'll put up here. Remember to represent God's heart for people. Represent God's heart for people. Now, I was at my neighborhood pool last summer, and I love going to the neighborhood pool. That's where I do all my reading, and I only read two things. I read the Bible and true crime serial killer books, okay, which I feel your judgment, but interesting. So I'm at the neighborhood pool last summer, and I'm reading the Bible, and there was this older lady sitting next to me, and I could feel the side eye, you know, like. And so eventually she was like, "Psst. I see you reading the Bible." She's like, "I'm a Christian too." And I'm like, "Oh." I'm like stuffing my serial killer book behind my pool bag. Hopefully you don't see that. But for whatever reason, this lady just decided to just lay it all out there for me. And she was just, she just went off, and she's like, "I don't really like my church anymore." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And she's like, "Well, I've been one of the original members. I've been there forever. I sit in the same seat all the time. Like, I've always been a staple at the church. But recently, the church leadership wanted to reach new people." And she was like, "So they've changed all the stuff, and the music gotten louder." And she's like, "All these people are showing up." And she's like, and they're sitting in my seat. And she was like, "You wouldn't even believe how some of these people live." She's like, "I think there's probably some of that on the seats, and she's like, "These are not my people." And then she said, "So I was thinking about leaving my church. Where do you go to church? Maybe I'll come to your church." And I was like, "I go to Solid Ground." We'd love to have you. Come hang out with us. I do love my friends at Solid Ground. I hope that lady went there. Anyway. I remember sitting there thinking, I think Jesus would be more offended by this lady's attitude than whatever this lady is offended about by the other people are doing. And I 100% believe that God's dream is for the church, is for there to be cheerleaders at the door cheering on all the people who are coming in, and not church bouncers at the door just checking everybody's morality ID. And so that's why I love our church. I love you guys. You guys are cheerleaders. You know why this church keeps on growing? Do you know last weekend was just a normal Sunday? 450 people came to church last weekend. That's crazy. Now, 425 were in the first two services. The last service was interesting. Just 25 of us hanging out. It's a small group. Whatever. Some of you need to come to that service. Hang out with me. But here's the thing. All right. I think we're supposed to be cheerleaders for people who are coming in here. And we got to remember, though, we can't get comfortable. Because the longer you've been a Jesus follower, the longer you've been coming here, the longer you've been sitting in that same seat, the easier it is to start thinking, oh, church is all about me, myself, and I. And I just want to remind you, church is also about those people who are not here yet. Those people who are maybe wandered off. And so when new people show up here, be happy. Smile. Come on. Give me those pearly whites. Let me see those pearly whites. Come on. Okay, whatever. I'll come back to that. I'll get you. Let me tell you why I said just smile. Be happy when people come here. When Jesus, who is the shepherd in the first story, when the lost sheep finally gets back, here's the reaction in verse 6. Rejoice with me because I have found my lost sheep. In the same way, there is more what? Joy in heaven over one lost sinner who repents and returns to God than over 99 others who are righteous and haven't strayed away. Now, I love this next picture we'll put up on the screen. You see this smile? Come on. Listen, that's the smile that Jesus has every single time somebody comes to Bay Shore for the first time. Welcome home, baby. And so I asked you to do this earlier, to smile, and you didn't do it. So this time, can you smile? Come on, let me see those pearly whites. Some of you paid a lot of money for them. Go on. Got 3 smiles. Okay, that's all good. Whatever. We'll smile together later. But I want you to know this smile is a picture of how Jesus smiled when you came home. Listen, when you came home, they partied like it was 1999 up there. Come on, 1999, 99 sheep, 1999. You get it? Listen, last service didn't get it either. But we got to remember to have this same joy when lost people are found at Bay Shore. So how do we represent God's heart to people? Just 2 takeaways for you for homework. Number 1, keep showing up. I've told you this recently, but the average Christian Jesus follower goes to church 8 times a year. Well, I'm not talking about you all because you guys are here. Come on, high five yourself. Just give yourself a high five. Yeah, you guys are above average. I tell you that all the time. But the average Jesus follower goes to church 8 times a year. If that, okay, true story. I was talking to somebody in my neighborhood a couple of years ago, and I just casually invited them to church. And she was like, oh, well, where do you go to church? And I was like, I go to, Bay Shore Rehoboth. I didn't tell her I was a preacher. I'd say, I go to Bay Shore Rehoboth. And she was like, oh, that's where I go. Who are you? I'm like, it's been a while, like 12 years. Like, when have you come here last? But she was like, I don't know. Maybe she went to a different campus in her Rehoboth. I don't know. But I just want to tell you this. We need you here. We need you here because we want to have your excitement for people who are walking in here for the first time. And so you can keep on smiling at them. You can keep on high-fiving these people who are walking in for the first time. You can keep on, flashing those pearly whites, partying like it's 1999 when people come here. Because, listen, I'm just telling you, I think this is an amazing church. I think the music is amazing here. I think the kids ministry is amazing here. I think we have the best volunteers on the planet. I think the preaching is, whatever, but it's an amazing church to come to remember that God's amazing grace is for you and it's in your life, but it's also for the people who are not here yet. And so when you come here, you can show other people that amazing grace, but you're also reminded about the amazing grace that you have received. So keep showing up. The second idea is this, is when you show up to bring a friend. We didn't even get to the third story that Jesus tells in Luke chapter 15. It's the story of the lost son, and maybe you know the story, but just real briefly, the son left home and he wasn't where he needed to be. And I think we all have that one friend in our life who's not where they need to be. Where they need to be is here. And our job, our number one job, is to get them here. To bring them here. Because as long as there is one person in Rehoboth Beach that does not know Jesus, our church is one person too small. And so invite people to come here. We have all these invite cards out in our lobby. You can grab one or grab 20 when you leave, and you can use that. You can promise somebody, hey, I'll take you out to the Crooked Hammock afterwards if you go. Okay, you can get those pineapple wings. Come on. Or just maybe next week and just show up at their house. Kidnap them in Jesus' name. Get them here. Because Jesus wants to write his name on every lost person out there. And he wants them to experience God's amazing grace from you guys and from Jesus in here. Now, I want to end by telling you a story that I told one other time. And so if you've heard this story, just pretend like you've never heard it. Pretend it's brand new. It's a story about Babe Ruth. And we'll put Babe Ruth's picture up here. Yeah, this is Babe Ruth. And Babe Ruth is known as the greatest baseball player who ever lived, according to The Sandlot. One of the greatest movies of all time. Come on, somebody. So, you may not be surprised by this, but Babe Ruth signed a ton of baseballs in his lifetime, but there's only 7 known bats that he hit a home run with that he signed. There's only 7 known home run Babe Ruth signed bats out there. And this is going to be crazy to some of you guys, but I have one of the 7th home run bats right here. Just kidding. I got this on Amazon this week. Last service fell for it too. Yes. Listen, if this was a Babe Ruth signed home run bat, we would be going above ground right now, people. That's where we would be going. We wouldn't be playing baseball. Anyway, this is true though. For decades, one of the 7 bats was lost. Nobody knew where it was. And this guy had it, and this guy ended up getting older, and in 1984, he was on his deathbed, and he didn't really have any friends or family that were close by, but he had a housekeeper, health person who took care of him. Her name was Marcia. And so this guy gave Marcia the lost home run Babe Ruth signed bat. Now, Marcia did not know who Babe Ruth was. Come on, Marcia. Who doesn't know? Are you kidding me? Okay, watch The Sandlot, Marcia. Anyway, Marcia, true story. In 1984, she got this bat, didn't know who it was from or who signed it. She put it under her bed at her house to just kind of ward off any strangers who would come in. She left it there for 18 years. Didn't know it was worth anything. 18 years later, she wanted to start a restaurant. And she's like, well, I don't really have anything that's valuable to I need some money and I don't have anything that's valuable to start this restaurant. And so she was like, maybe that bat is worth something. So she gets the lost 7th home run bat. She takes it to a local card store and she's like, I don't know, this is under my bed. Is this worth anything? This guy gave it to me. And the guy's like, it's the 7th home run bat. This is history. And so true story, they put it in an auction and it fetched almost $1.3 million. Sit under bed for 18 years, $1.3 million, okay? And the point of the story is if you got a Babe Ruth bat under your bed, just put it in the giving next weekend, okay? We accept sports memorabilia here, all right? Here's my question for you. What made that bat worth $1.3 million and this bat worth $49.99 that I bought on Amazon Prime the other day? The signature. Babe Ruth's name was written on the bat that was worth $1.3 million. And I do not want to step off this stage before I remind you, the reason that you are valuable isn't because Jesus signed a wooden bat with a pen. Okay, it's because Jesus signed in red his name on a wooden cross. That's why I'm valuable. That's why you are valuable, and you're worth way more than $1.3 million. And I don't think we should stop as a church until people who are out there also know just how valuable they are. And so I just want you to remember to keep showing up and never forget to bring people with you so that they can experience God's amazing grace, just like many of you have. And aren't you thankful for God's amazing grace? Or is anybody thankful for God's amazing grace?